The whole point of today is really helping missionaries think through how can we host teams better. So how can missionaries improve that communication with those team leaders to help align those expectations?
I think for us, we would say the missionary needs to understand what they actually need, and not bend to the desires and wishes of just what the team is looking for. So, like Andrea said, this comes back to level setting expectations. Do we understand truly what our community needs? And I think the answer is yes. If we're living in these communities as long term missionaries, we do understand our local context. We understand the needs of the gospel, the needs of the ministry that we're doing. Uh, but oftentimes, I think we're slow to communicate the real needs that are on the ground and how short term teams can fit in. And unfortunately, I think we're quicker to just assess the team for what the team is looking for. So for instance, what I mean by that is I think a lot of times a church is contacting us and saying, "Hey, we're thinking of coming to you and bringing a team. Can we come? What dates work for you?" And we work out the dates, we work out the trip, team comes, they're a little bit of a disaster and they go home and there's not much impact on either side. I would wonder if there's a better strategy to that for the host missionary in their site where they're doing long term ministry to say, you know what, we're only going to take teams that are highly strategic and fit into what we're doing. And teams that understand that they're coming to actually encourage us as long term missionaries, in addition to doing some practical work on the ground, whether that's construction, evangelism, church planning, whatever it is in your local context. But I think oftentimes we're too quick to just assess a team at face value for hosting a team's sake, or maybe it's an income, question of this is part of our budget and we just need to have teams. I think we need to scratch that and go back to ground zero and say, how are we as the long-term missionaries setting the expectations of what would actually be helpful in our context, and making those expectations fully known, and then filtering out and actually saying no to some teams if it doesn't fit. Are we willing to say, I'm sorry, that doesn't fit into our ministry and that doesn't fit into our vision of where we're moving? Here's another ministry that you can connect with, though, that I know of that does do this, right?
Yeah, I think too, it's establishing a shared purpose for a short term team, right? So it's more than just setting the expectations, but having a shared idea of what's the end goal of this. So I think where some of the misalignment often happens is the team itself might have an end goal of we want to go to such and such place and we want to accomplish XYZ. We want to help the ministry there, right? We want to be a part of the ministry there. Whereas for the missionary host, that may not be the purpose per se, right? The missionary host may have a perspective of, I want to be able to share with this team what God is doing here. And so it's more of a show and tell rather than like a come and do. And so we have to find alignment on the shared purpose of short term. And I think this is how short term has gone wrong for a long period of time, is that it hasn't been connected strategically to a long-term vision, because short-term trips have been seen as we're just going to go and accomplish something and get something done, and it's about a task that we can do, rather than seeing how can these short-term experiences actually be part of the long-term work that's going. So for example, we tell all of our teams, if you don't finish the project, if you don't accomplish any specific task, that's okay. The most important thing that you can do as you're going to serve is to bless and encourage the missionary or the local ministry so that they can continue to do the work that they're doing. And in that way, you're actually helping this long-term work and being a part of this long-term work. You're stepping in for such a short period of time. And I think sometimes when the short-term team might have this expectation of like, we're going to accomplish so much, you might be there for 7 days, right? Like, really, how much are you going to accomplish? Not that much at all. But what you can do in that short period of time is see the work of God happening in that place and get to share in that and get to participate in that. and witness what God is doing so that you can come back and tell the rest of the church, right? And encourage those back home. And hopefully what you've seen and how you've been impacted by seeing the way in which the missionaries are living and serving God will also impact the way that you're going to serve and live God in your everyday life.
Yes. And all the missionaries said, amen. I mean, that's it. That's what you really hope is you hope a team will come and be a part of that larger vision. But I do think there are a lot of teams, and there are a lot of teams that are great, who get it. But there are a lot of teams still, I think, coming over from earlier years where this was more the modus operandi of like, this is about our agenda. This is about how many salvations we come back. Well, we do street evangelism. So we need you to create a street evangelism opportunity for us. Mm-hmm. And so the missionary, like you were kind of saying, Jesse, would kind of customize and change what it was they were doing to fit the team, which is disingenuous because it burns out everybody on the ground. And then it gives this team this false sense of they've accomplished so much, when in reality, they just strung, burnt out missionaries and not really left much to come back with. Mm-hmm. So it's that whole adage, teach people how to treat you. And I think you nailed it, Jesse, when you were saying, I think sometimes it's a financial thing. Like we need a team to come down, or we need our supporting church to send a team down so they continue to support us. And not that it's just that, but it's a part of that. We need supporters. We need finances to be able to do what we do on the ground. So of course we want to create those spaces for particular churches. But if we betray who we really are and what our calling actually is to receive those, to your point, it's better to not do them. And I think that if you're with a church who really gets you, who really loves you, they're going to respect the fact that you say, this is not the right fit for us right now. Mm-hmm. Or I was talking to somebody who plans teams the other day, and it was all these churches wanted to come at the same time or go to all these different places. And she was saying, well, okay, we have to think things through next year and say, we can only do this many per month and set this out and only go to these particular places and figure out what's best for us so we don't fry out. And I think that is a critical piece, is what's going to burn you out. If you're setting yourself up for failure to make a team happy, that's not really what the Lord's calling us to do. So how can we set ourselves up for success and really maximize the value of these incredible teams? I mean, it's so good to have them down. They get so energized and excited when they get to go back and share the stories. So let's give them an actual, real, meaningful experience that's beneficial to us as well.
Hey, missionary friends, we are so glad you joined us today. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so you'll be the first to know when a new episode drops. And click like and comment below. We love hearing what's resonating with you and what you'd like to hear more of.